Good afternoon. This is on behalf of the opposition, myself, the other honourable leaders that are present today. Flanking me is the Honourable Brian Kramer, member for Madang, former Prime Minister Peter O'Neill, senior statesman the Honourable Karen Papua, Governor for Eastern Highlands, the Honourable Simon Sear, and to my right, the Honourable Governor for East Pacific, the Honourable Alan Bird, the Honourable Sapuka Temu, member for Abau, the Honourable James Donald, member for North Fly, the Honourable Johnson Wapunai, and the Honourable Ricky Morris. Members of the opposition have gathered here today to just basically announce to the nation on what transpired yesterday. You would have seen that the government moved the proposed amendment to Section 145 of the Constitution, which is the provision that deals specifically with votes of no confidence in the Prime Minister. And and then in a vote of 81 to 4 and against, they were able to pass this amendment on the floor of Parliament, which basically gives the Prime Minister 18 months a grace period after an unsuccessful vote of no confidence. So this is what transpired yesterday, and also with the same numbers, they were also able to pass the amendment to the Constitution stating that Papua New Guinea is now a Christian country. So these are the two critical amendments announced by the Good Attorney General, the Honourable Pilaminindi, yesterday. Okay, just to be clear and then provide some background, is the opposition has already filed a Supreme Court application that is currently on foot and on the validity of the Private Businesses Committee's decision preventing the vote of no confidence on the 27th of November 2024. So the Supreme Court, the substantive hearing will occur tomorrow on the 14th of March 2025, where they will then decide whether it's to recall Parliament for a vote of no confidence or to declare that the Parliament was right in its actions. So basically, we anticipate in the opposition that there will be a recall of Parliament. And when the opposition, through the Section 18 application, applied for an interim injunctive order to stop Parliament from dealing with this proposed amendment to make it into law, the five-man bench of the Supreme Court ruled that it couldn't interfere with parliamentary proceedings. Notwithstanding the changes to Section 145 and making it into law, they said this would have no prejudice on the application because the proposed law would then have a prospective operation on the vote of no confidence motion. That means that it can only come into play what the government under this Prime Minister, the Honourable James Marape, did yesterday, can only come into play after the next vote of no confidence. So if there's another vote of no confidence and this Prime Minister successfully defeats that vote of no confidence, then this changed amendment to Section 145 comes in and he will have 18 months protection before you can move another vote of no confidence, and by that time it won't be relevant anymore because we'll be 12 months before the issue of writs for the next election. So we will have the Honourable James Marape as the Prime Minister for the country going into the 2027 national general elections. Notwithstanding that change to the Section 145, we're also announcing now that we will be taking this matter to court and we'll be filing next week to oppose these changes as being oppressive and not in the spirit of the Constitution by restricting members and prohibiting them from exercising their rights under their mandate to move a vote of no confidence in the Prime Minister, and in that holding the executive government accountable and ensuring that we have an opposition. in the whole process of Parliament and parliamentary debate. So this is what we'll be doing next week, and we expect that the Supreme Court will invalidate the changes that took place yesterday, and then we will revert the Constitution and preserve it. So that's just to make an announcement of what happened yesterday, and I'll allow the Honourable Governor Alan Bird, who was also there, to give us some more details about what transpired. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Deputy Opposition Leader, and fellow leaders, members of the media. I think it's also important that we go back a little bit further in understanding the events prior to these two motions being made. I feel personally that I think it was very disrespectful in the memory of Sir Julius, because as you know, these two amendments were moved previously. There was some opposition, and you'll find that with government, when it comes to constitutional amendments, the members in government caucus, if they want to object, they basically don't turn up to give them nothing. What had happened, I think, yesterday was very opportunistic of the government, using the condolence occasion for Sir Julius, which I think most of the members of parliament turned up to show their respects. They realized they had the numbers and it was difficult for their members to leave. So they brought both motions to the floor. In fact, if you go back to your footage, you'll find that it was a last-minute decision. You could see the Prime Minister signaling to the leader of government business, Mr. Siamalili, to bring both motions forward. Now, the net effect is that, and this is the thing, I find it really hypocritical that a lot of the members of parliament, particularly in government, spoke very nicely about the founding fathers, and they forget that the founding fathers wrote this book, basically adopting them. And on the same day, 1 minute after praising the wisdom of the founding fathers, they then found that their wisdom wasn't sufficient, and they decided to amend it. Not once, but twice, within a space of about 10 minutes. And that's probably some kind of record in the entire world where a constitution is amended twice in the space of 10 minutes. So I think I felt I had to say that, because the other thing is that Sir Julius was a member of the opposition. If he was here, he would have opposed the changes. And so I thought it was very hypocritical for them to say one thing in his language, and then their actions are then totally contrary. I thought that was really disrespectful. But moving on, just to affirm what the opposition deputy leader has said, the fact of the matter is that these constitutional changes are intended just to support one. And I want the Christians out there to understand this. The amendment to the Constitution for Christianity is actually, in my view, it contravenes Section 35 of the Constitution. The people that wrote this Constitution, and the father of the Constitution is still alive today, Dr. John. And I think the media should actually interview this great man, get his thoughts on it, what they were thinking when they wrote the Constitution. Why did they do what they did? I think that what we've done yesterday was totally disrespectful of all the founding fathers. The Constitution should only be amended when absolutely necessary. And the other thing is that we shouldn't make it very easy to amend the Constitution like the way we are doing it. This is really easy. You'll find that, and if you go and you check with members of government, you'll find that they're getting ready to pay them DSIP and PSIP funds now in this parliament. And I feel that that's an inducement, force them to come pick up the money and then to go. And in support of all of these faulty legislations, faulty amendments. It's wrong. And therefore we need to stand up for it. I think that's the key message. And you've got your loyal opposition here. We intend to stand up for it. So, again, in memory and out of respect for our founding fathers, we need to stand up for it. The Constitution is actually meant to protect the people from politicians. Now you find politicians are amending the constitution to suit themselves, working against the people. And the people of Papua New Guinea need to understand this. Constitution only writing lo protecting Jupla. Lo kain or passing with Mitla or Glowogin now. That's what it's there for. Constitutions around the world are meant to protect the people, not members of parliament. The amendment to section 145 is to protect one man, the Prime Minister. It essentially eliminates, this amendment eliminates all of your potential votes of no confidence, notwithstanding you have the Private Business Committee, which was put in place to prevent votes of no confidence in the president. And on top of all of that, so now you only have one opportunity, essentially, when you think about it, in every term of parliament for a vote of no confidence. The right to dissent, the right to disagree with the government was essentially removed yesterday. So now, what it means is that members of parliament are becoming powerless to change a government. To change a government, the people have to do it on the streets. That's basically what that means yesterday. And it's something that if you remember when we stood outside in the front of the house and said, Julius himself, he said it, and you can go back and dig up your archives. He said this, he is afraid that the people will change the government themselves from the street. And so that's what that amendment, the net effect of that amendment will do. It will force changes of government out in the street, not on the floor. Very good. And that is essentially what the Constitution was trying to do when the founding fathers were. And I think as members of the opposition, we have a duty to take it to the court and to put it in front of our Supreme Court. And I believe our Supreme Court will rule in favor of the Constitution. You mean Bagrabi Mogada something. You mean Sawa Pinisoshan, you ask you call him name of a member of parliament, the public will say, I'm corrupt, the man will steal, the man will make this. Basically name of Bagrabi. And then we are the same people that decide to protect themselves. It's self-interest and it's war. So I think the judges will welcome us taking this to them for an interpretation. And I think we need to do it because so making them know another man more. And the question needs to be answered and it needs to be settled once and for all. And that's why we're doing it. We're not doing it now for our self-interest. We are doing it to protect the rights of future leaders who might come. Because here's the problem. Initially, if you remember amendment of section 145, increase already 3 years. Initially, it was 6 years protection law, 6 months, sorry, protection law of Prime Minister. That was increased to 18 months. When nobody challenged it, it's like 18 months here, now we have come up lawyer. Nobody challenged it. So that 18 months has now become a permanent change in the Constitution. None of us can challenge it anymore because nobody did. We ran out of time to challenge. Now, this amendment is supposed to be challenging. Basically, as the Deputy Opposition Leader says, it only gives the opportunity for one vote of no confidence. So we have to challenge it. If we don't, it becomes a permanent fixture. Just like the 18 months change has now become permanent because nobody challenges. So I just want the people to understand why we are challenging. And the dangers that we face if we don't challenge. And also the issue on the Christian bill. The Constitution under Section 45 guarantees the freedom of religion. Your choice. The change yesterday pushes us towards a fundamentalist Christian state. Now we all know the problems we have with fundamental churches of any kind, whether they be Muslim or Christian or it doesn't matter. And so we need to protect ourselves, all of us, from this kind of religious extremism. And therefore, we have to challenge that amendment. Every Papua New Guinean, and even people who choose to become citizens of Papua New Guinea, must have the right of freedom of worship, to like Lord. We cannot use a constitution to force everyone into one religion. Other countries have done that, and we can see the damage that has been done to those sorts of countries. We can't go down the same path.
said, yeah, we do.
No.
So, we got you.
Yeah, with that.